pastor, church leader, would you like to reach 300,000 people? I mean, maybe you would, but maybe that's not even your goal. Maybe when you think about online ministry and digital approaches to church, maybe virality isn't your goal. Maybe you just simply want to serve your guests and your members really well. Whatever the reason is, I wonder which components of your church and of your discipleship strategy are digital. Are there even any? You know, Carey Nieuwhof recently wrote this about the church's sometimes archaic approach to church and to discipleship. He said, most churches approach it like this: let's just get people in our building, let's just get people in the room, and then we'll figure out how to disciple them. Well, in this episode, what I want to do is I want to share with you how churches are reaching people, specifically young people, online. I'm also going to share with you some eye-opening statistics about Generation Z and Millennials and their church attendance, and how that should frame your solution to the online and digital conundrum. But stick around to the end of the video, because I have a solution that's going to cost you next to nothing that can maximize your impact online. Hey there, everyone. My name is Nick Clason. If you and I haven't had a chance to meet yet, welcome to the Hybrid Ministry Show. I've been in youth ministry for 14 years, and thus I've also been in digitally integrated ministry for 14 years. And in recent years, I have upped the ante on that, and I have gone all in on digital and content marketing in the context of church and in the context of youth ministry. So I'm so excited to have you here. Let's hop in. You know, there are churches, believe it or not, out there like Church Home, like Life.Church, that are reaching thousands of young adults, and they're doing it online. In fact, John Mark Comer has a delivery system for discipleship resources, and his discipleship resource delivery system is 100% through his digital platform called Practicing the Way. You know, in the article linked down below that I am referencing that Carey Nieuwhof talked about, he said this. He said, after a brief period for churches of innovation with all kinds of online ministries churches offered during COVID when it first hit, most churches have toggled back to simply streaming their weekend services and using social media to either share last week's service or to advertise their next service. Live streaming your weekend service taps about 1% of the potential that online ministry has to offer. But I would imagine if you're in church or in pastoral ministry, you probably feel as though you don't have time, especially when it pertains to digital and especially when it pertains to online, because it can just be a totally new skill set, and entering into a new skill set is never a fun phenomenon because you got to learn so many things. So give me a like if any of these things that I'm about to share are things that you've had to do within the past week. Give me a like if you've had to write a sermon or enter into a counseling appointment, or if you've had to focus on community outreach of sorts, or heaven forbid, give me a like if you've even had to do some administrative duties. I should have hundreds of likes on this video at this point. I want you to give me a subscribe if you instantly think to yourself, with all those to do, how in the world am I supposed to make social media and digital a priority? Well, I have some good news for you. Link down below is my completely free full strategy guide. It's how I grew our channels and how I approach social and digital media here in the context that I'm in. If you're watching here on YouTube, in the article that I linked down below, you can also go check it out. Carey Nieuwhof says the millennial generation is now squarely your church's main focus, or it should be, because church attendance has gone up for millennials. It's higher than Gen X, and it's higher than boomers. Furthermore, according to a study done by BARNA a couple of years back, millennial churchgoers said this. They said hybrid church, just as much as physical church, will be a, get this, good fit for them. Furthermore, I want to share some of these statistics with you. If you're watching here on YouTube, you can see them. But it says, the question was, do you use the internet for faith purposes? Do you use the internet as a faith supplement? Do you use the internet as a substitute for physical church? Church Gen Z unsurprisingly, was the highest, with 67% using it for faith purposes, 56% using it as a faith supplement, and 58% using it as a substitute for physical church. Millennials were next, with 64% using it for faith purposes, 46% as a faith supplement, and 51% as a substitute for physical church. And then church Gen X and boomers go 58 and 42 for faith purposes, 45 and 32 for a faith supplement, and 44 and 40 for a substitute for physical church. And I share all of those to say is that the strategy of let's just get them here in the room is not going to work anymore. And you can try that. That's fine. And I get why we would be prone to want to do that, because in this same article by BARNA, the future of the hybrid church, which I'll link down below in the show notes if you want to check that out. It's a purchased product, but it's fantastic. It's fantastic. There is still a desire to gather together, which is why I like to call it hybrid. It's not just digital. It's not just what we had during COVID, which was only digital, right? It's digital plus in person. So in person still has a job to do. And so what I want to offer to you is you can grab my free ebook, but if you get in there and you're like, I don't know what's best for us, I want to let you know about some custom coaching that I have to offer. My custom coaching is 4 sessions long, $50 per session. It'll be $200 out of your overall budget, which is absolutely pennies in the drop in the bucket in an overall church size budget. But if even that is too much, reach out. We can make something work. But the reason that custom coaching is important is because every context is different. Like I can tell you what I'm doing here in DFW, Dallas, Fort Worth area to reach in my context, Gen Z, young, basically almost done with Gen Z to Gen Alpha. But that might be helpful because if you're managing church social media for an overall church, like what we're doing is going to be very cutting edge for, like older Gen Z and even like millennials. But every church and every context and every geographical area is a little bit different. I was recently coaching another guy, and my typical strategy, I changed it and tweaked it a little bit for him because he was doing things just a little bit differently, and his context was a little bit different, and his role was a little bit unique compared to what I typically would tell people to do. And so even I was, thinking through and adjusting my model. And so it's important because everyone in every place is different. And so you can get my free guide and you can use what works, for you out of that. But if you want to even tap in just a little bit further to some of the uniqueness of every context, that's where customized coaching comes in. Because here's the thing, for you and for me and for all of us, my general strategy is simply walking down a funnel of posting short form content, silly content as well as spiritual content, and hopefully gathering an audience with that, and then pushing them to a long form version of some more serious spiritual content, which is what we do in our youth ministry. We pre-film our messages and we adapt them and make them specific for YouTube. We do that versus a live stream type of thing. As Carrie Nieuwhof said the challenge is the future is to diversify what you offer online and distinguish it from what you offer in person. So not only is that going to create true options, Nieuwhof continues on to say, but it will deepen engagement as your in-person and online ministries lean towards what each does best. And then beyond just your message content, beyond your weekly sermons, so to speak, that are also going to live online, whether that's live stream, which I would argue is not as good as a pre-filmed version, but it's still better than nothing. You can also lean into things like courses and those types of things. And then the final piece is this, as I say all this, and as maybe a minute ago, you gave me that sub because you were like, dude, there's just too much to do. And even with some custom coaching, there's still going to be a lot on your plate. You're 100% right. There's still a lot of work to do, which is why I want to offer to some of you, it might be worth it budget-wise, Communications Done for You. It's a service that I offer, and I will run your website, or I will do graphics and video, or I will run your YouTube and social media. Each of those different buckets and categories is a different price point, or you can bundle them all together for a different price point. Link down below to inquire about that. But let me just tell you that it is 1/10 of the cost of a full-time staff person if you were to hire me and contract me to do communications for you and for your church and for your ministry, because there's so much on your plate and you want it, but you don't have the time or bandwidth or desire maybe even to learn it. And I understand that. And at some point it's just worth it, to just get it off of your plate. And if that you're in that zone and you don't want the coaching, you don't want to learn via the ebook, then great. Then check out what I have to offer communications for you. I will do things like inspect your website. I will optimize your search engine optimization. I will make your website as visitor friendly as possible. If you want to go in the graphics route, I can do graphic design for you. I can do series and events and pre-screen and print graphics and all those types of things. Get those pesky jobs off of your plate. And if you want to optimize your church's social media, live stream, or YouTube pre-film messages, we can do thumbnails, we can title the video, we can optimize the tags for search engine optimization, create chapters so that people can jump around in your videos, create playlists and online courses, and also create post shorts for your social media. Whatever works best and whatever you want done for you. All of it is linked down below in the description or in the show notes. I would love to have you check those things out. But again, I appreciate you being here. And listen, it is the future of the church is online. It's not only online, but a wide portion of it is. And the fact is, the more capacity and bandwidth that you have to take it there, the more effective I believe you will be to maximize your reach and your influence. So continue to pursue reaching people for Jesus. Continue to pursue the call and the assignment in which God has placed you, particularly right now in this season. And don't forget, and as always, stay hybrid.